This episode of The Cut was filmed at the Men's Grooming Lounge.
Now this is me in the future. Always want to prove a point. Now we're contemplating another junction in life. We live with our decisions. It all come down to choice. It all come down to choice. Hey, I made use of my opportunity. Now I'm where I want to be.
Welcome back to The Cut. My next two guests have individual journeys, but a big part of their story is intertwined. This is my first actual couple, married couple. They are legends in the Jamaican musical landscape, award-winning. They need no introduction. Auntie Carlene Davis, the great. Tami Cowan, big boss.
Bless indeed.
Bless indeed. Yes, indeed. Where that phrase came from?
Oh man, that phrase came. I was on tour in the United States, and one night on the bus, as I came back on the bus, Bunny Ruggs kept saying, yes, indeed, and third word laughing every time he said, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I said, what is all this joke about? What is it?
Yeah.
He said, didn't you know how many times we counted you saying yes, indeed, like 20 odd times
Really?
while you're the MC on the show. So that kind of stuck with me from that time.
Okay, so it was indirectly a slogan that you were using.
Yes.
And they picked it out.
Yes.
And said, stay with this.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting, because it's almost like my slogan in music is true, true, true. And I really buck up on it because I was doing a song and was finishing a verse and needed about a bar or so to go back to the chorus. And I said, true, true, 2 times, and then Jam 2, King Jam, his son, say, don't stop, say that.
Wow.
And I say, for real? And he must say, yeah, man, it have a ring to it.
Wow.
And I just ran with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need friends around you who
Yes.
can pick out the greatness that is there.
Yes,
You know?
Yes.
for sure.
No, man. Guys, welcome. I am honored to have you. People always say, me and Tami is couple goals. But there's levels to it because you are our couple goals. Whenever we see you guys in the road, and we buck up all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All
Don't
the
it?
ti- Yes, in the
Yes.
supermarket.
All the time. And there's always a moment where I hug Tami a little bit tighter because you guys represent something that we aspire for. And we see you having that whole energy between you at this point. You've done so much together, work together, live together, love together, and here you are still enjoying each other's company, and it's a big deal, and it needs to be celebrated. It needs to be celebrated.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, no.
All to the goodness of God.
Oh,
That's
yes.
all I can tell you.
Oh yes. So today now, I invited you guys to basically give you the flowers, celebrate the legacy and the contributions that you've both made together and individually in the music. And Uncle Tami, I do not want modest Tami Cowan today. I want Tami Cowan who is going to toot a little bit of his own horn. This man is one of the most humble men you will meet. Allow me to tell?
True.
Oh my goodness.
True.
Uncle Tami, enough thing you do about here, you know. Things that you guys have done will outlive you. Things that you have touched, Uncle Tami, influences that you've had on showbiz, the youth, them are do that nowadays. The youth, them are still are the things that you introduce. The booking agency model, things like
Yes.
that. Not Tami Cowan.
Amen.
Sharon Burke, who bring me up as the big Sharon Burke. You employ
Prodigy.
Sharon Burke.
Yes,
Tommy-
so Sharon
Tommy-
started with me, yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Once the Oxford Road.
Yeah. And at
It
the
is
house.
now ATL on Oxford Road. That's where Talent Corporation started.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome. And I want to put in context who you guys are. And I feel like the way how we do that is going back to the beginning. And when I say beginning, and I know this is many moons ago, but still, childhood days, growing up, family, community that would have had impact on you from early.
Well, it started with me from St. Elizabeth. There's a town, a place, not a town, a village called New Market. And beside New Market is Moko. And Moko beside that is Kep. I just found out really over the last few years that where I was living was actually kept. My father was the Methodist minister at Newmarket Church, and so I grew up there, went to Nightingale Grove School as a little kid, and then one day going to church, I got my baptism walking through the shortcut, and what you call a trumpet tree burst down the middle and baptized me, wet me up.
Yeah.
You know what a trumpet tree is like, but it's a famous tree in Jamaica.
Right.
And it keeps water on the inside.
Okay.
It wet me up. After that, long story short, my father decided to send me to Kingston. And that was where I started in Newmarket. We didn't have radio. We didn't have television. We didn't have running water. We had none of that. All we had was love.
Really? No, but I
Yeah.
checked, say you're a Kingston man all these years, and I
Yes.
never know, say a country boy, man.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because so many people who I've spoken to, journeys started out, even though they've established themselves in Kingston, they started out in the country. There's so many lessons to be learned from
Yes,
just
they
that
said there's a
simple
difference
life.
between somebody who come from Kingston and a Kingstonian.
Right. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so that tree, it bursts and wet up things all the time?
No.
So that was just
This was,
a
when I look
coincidence.
back at it,
It's not coincidence. You can't call it coincidence. now.
no, because it took me many, many years, and Carlene can tell you that we went back and looked at the spot and wonder what was really happening there. That is part of where we are, what we are today, you know, because you realize that you are really formed with a purpose, with an intention, and things were on your life from way back then.
Whoa. And I had no idea that the Christian faith would have had such an early impact on you, your father being a minister.
Yes.
I never knew that at all. I know you as Rasta.
Yes.
Tami Cowan
Yes.
throughout the 80s when I born and I grew up.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Auntie Carlene, what was growing up like for you? Where did it start for you?
Started in Clarendon, the foothills of Bullhead Mountain, a district called Colonel's Ridge. So you get to Chapelton and you go all the way up. And then if you keep going, once you get to Colonel's Ridge, you enter Kellets, and you keep going back to St. Anne. So very hilly area, a lot of rivers, a lot of fruits, and that to me is what I remember when I left Jamaica at 14 years old and joined my parents in England, because I grew up with my grandparents.
Okay.
My parents left when I was 6. I just realized how young I was when they left us.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God. There were 5 of us, and the last 3, me included, joined my parents in England. And when I look back, even my years in England, it was such a joy when I think about what I had, the simplicity of living with all the fruits, because my grandfather, farmed, so we were never lacking when it comes to food.
Right.
We fed the community, and then of course church life was everything, because like Tommy said, we didn't have television, we didn't have running water, but we had a little radio, and my grandfather, who was an avid musician, played saxophone, clarinet, violin, guitar,
Oh, wow.
and there's cello. So that was what we were entertained by, my granddad. And he
Okay.
would always say, okay, Carlene, come, sing this.
So that's where the music bug bite you.
And then my mom was part of the choir before she migrated. So music was really part of our life, the entire family, from church, school, and the community. Because he would play in the community,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So Uncle Tommy, what was your entry point into the world of music?
Well, actually still in the country, because what happened, my father got a thing called a gramophone, which was they wind it up,
Yeah.
and you put it on the record,
Right.
and he got 2 records. Jane and Louise Will Soon Come Home, and another one
Remember that
called Home on the Range.
Right.
And so that was my first interest, because I thought that the gramophone, there was a man head in it. How come this thing? Because I was like 5 years old. And thinking, how, you know? And then I came to Kingston and growing up on a place called Delacree Road, which I was at Sunday night and Sunday night before doing street evangelism. Yeah. It was amazing. Okay, but nice. I grew up on Delacree Road. And so I got exposed because Delacree Road was very special in the sense of I got to see guys like first start hearing the radio and songs on the radio, but got to see guys passing like even Don Drummond's lived down the road. Okay. Wilford Jackie Edwards. John Holt was just down the road from Maxwell Avenue. Bob Andy was a kid when I'm playing at Maxwell Park Children's Home. Used to play with Bob Andy there. And that list went on. But then one day, my aunt brought home a youngster from church to sing at the house, and she made us a thing of sandwiches for him because he ate a lot. Or Jimmy Tucker. That is the uncle of Junior Tucker. Whoa. And he was the one who sang the national anthem. They still use it up to today. Right, yeah. So I started going to Half-a-Tree School, and while at Half-a-Tree School, I would mess around songs, Be Faithful Darling by Pat Boone. And one day, they asked me to come to St. Hugh's High School to sing. And I sang on the concert, and after that, 4 guys came to me and said, well, they wanted me to join the group. This group was called the Miracles. Right, yeah. Right. Yeah. So after that, I had a time after that, I asked them why they wanted me to join the group. Is it that I didn't realize I could sing that well? Yeah. I said, no, you really can't sing. Just that the girls like it. So, yeah, so I ended up in the Miracles. Wow. And the Miracles, we were one day singing for a man called Aston McEachran, a Canadian businessman. And he was on a date. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, you know Muta Baruka? Yes, of course. Muta Baruka's wife is Jackie. Yeah. But Jackie's mom, we called her Miss Chin, and he was dating her back down in the young days. Okay. And we went and sang for this guy. And when we were finished, he said to us, guys, you know, I'm going to give you a shandy. A shandy was a beer mixed with a soft drink, right? But I have an advice for you. He says, I want you to change your name. This is far back. And he says, yeah? Yes, I want you to call yourselves the Jamaicans. Yeah. I say, the Jamaicans, that sounds sad, man. You know, we name the Miracles. Yeah. You know, hey, man, happy good times, the Miracles. Yeah. Says, no. Says, boys, one day that music you're singing is going to become very big in the world, and you must be the first to be identified with it. Call yourself the Jamaicans. Yeah. Yeah. And the group changed yourself. And we changed. Boy, Uncle Tami, I never even know, say, you was big singer them time, the back in the day. No, seriously, that's why I tell you, say, we need to hear these stories, I'm telling you. But Auntie Carlene, I want to know when the music, when you started realizing that this is my calling, this is what I am going to do with the rest of my life.
I was probably in my 20s when I decided it was going to be full-time, because I was in and out, you know, from high school. When I was in England, I had a band in school, I had a band in college, and when I started working, there was always a little band somewhere. Right. My dad got me involved in the, you know, where I started earning. You know, the ones in school was just for school and the community, but once I started earning, my dad introduced me to this trio. And then when I went to Canada, same thing, I started doing the talent shows, because I just wanted to, wherever I was, music was always a part of my life. Right. You know, and when I got to Canada, even before I settled into a full-time job, trying, you know, I have to make a living. Of course. I was constantly getting involved in talent shows, looking for the talent shows just to get the people to get to know that I exist in this
Right,
community, you know.
right.
And then the word got around that there's a singer who can sing, and booking agency will be putting bands together and want a vocalist up front. And so I started doing a lot of that.
Okay.
Till I decided that, you know, I couldn't do the 9 to 5 anymore. It was just too much, you know, but at the same time, still have to pay the bills.
Right,
So
right.
I would, you know, sign up with a booking agency, and once you go on the road and you're touring across Canada, and you come back and you'll get a, you know, a part-time job working in the office just to fill that those empty spots. And then one day I said, no, I'm done. This is it.
Full time.
Full time.
Focus.
Full time. Focus. I had to remain focused.
Right.
It was just killing. I remember many times I'd be on stage after work. I'd go home, get ready, and I'm on stage. And I literally am on that platform singing and sleeping.
Yeah. So tired.
So tired.
Yeah.
And I just knew I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. It felt like no matter what diverse cultural influences you had in UK or Canada, reggae was always the heartbeat of your sound.
It was always a heartbeat. I'd do everything else because I had to make a living, so I would be doing the pop and the rock and roll and R&B.
Oh,
you know,
so you
because
dabbled in a little bit of...
I did. That was my foundation, especially in England. And of
Okay.
course, when I went to Canada, it was rock. And then, of course, R&B. But whenever I had a chance, I would have a middle-of-the-road band, and then I'll have a reggae band.
Okay.
For those special occasions, you know, especially when Toots come to town or any of the major artists who will be touring in Canada, and I'll be like the opening act, you know.
Okay, so you're making a real name for yourself.
Yes.
So then what was the defining moment that really, first of all, got you back to Jamaica and just focused on a career as a reggae singer?
Well, there was a point where I would visit Jamaica and did my second album here. I worked with the Revolutionaries, which, you know, Robbie Shakespeare and Ranchi and all those guys were part of that aggregation. And then doing the circuit in Canada, and then I met Babsy Grange, who was there in Canada working with Ernie Smith, Leroy Sibbles, and several Jamaican artists who were based in Canada now.
Babsy was in Canada working...
Yes, she had a booking agency called...
Mrs. Spection?
No.
Before
Grange
that?
Walker and Associates.
What
I
you
have
say
it known.
to me?
Yes.
Auntie Babsy, no.
So she came and saw me performing at an Easter special doing Many Rivers to Cross, and she came up to me and said, come see me. And we got together. She signed me up as one of her artists, and that was where now I really got engrossed in the full-time side of the industry. You know,
Really?
we toured Canada, me and Ernie, opened for Peter Tosh, opened for Sting, the group Sting.
Wow.
And all of that. And it was really, that was a turning point. And we went in the studio, recorded Harder They Come. That started opening doors for me here in Jamaica. Those songs, Desperate Lover, the Bob Andy hit.
Yeah.
And so many other songs. And when she decided to come back to Jamaica, I said, I am coming right behind you. I'm not staying here. You got me going here.
Wow.
So I was...
Minister Babsy Grange.
Yes, I
played
was
such a big part in your ascension.
Yes, and it was a great opportunity for me because she was a female, a manager in the industry, a female manager. It was very rare, and we know the struggles with women in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, can you trust this person? Is he for real? But when I met her, I felt something solid was happening.
What was her talent, her superpower as a manager?
Hands-on, hands-on. She's in the studio with you. She's helping you prepare the songs to get in the studio.
Really?
No, man, she was...
Image and everything.
Image and everything. As a matter of fact, these braids is Babsy.
Wow.
She turned me on to braids, honest to God. She looked at me and she says, Carlene, have you considered that? And it wasn't even a big popular thing at the time, but from I started rocking it, I haven't looked back.
Yeah. No, that's your signature for true. No, man.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Tami, you mentioned being in and around Trenchtown. Was it those days where you'd have met Bob Marley?
Yeah. Actually, this is a mystery, if you want to call it that. I knew Rita before Bob. We were actually rehearsing. For what reason, we're still trying to find out. We would go to the gate of Rita's house and rehearse. Of course, we know that she was part of, I think, Solettes, that those groups were around there. And then we would gather there. And then I used to have a very hard feeling about Rita, seeing her there. And she was there with this little baby, and we used to say, why are auntie leave her with this little baby? Sharon laughed and said, I was the baby.
Oh, that is Sharon.
At the time. This was that relationship with Trenchtown. And then I knew Bob after that, seeing him at Downbeat. Yeah.
Studio
One. Yeah, see him one day lying down on a door. And I got to meet him then. But it was years after that we got into a relationship.
Okay. Did you realize that this was a rising of a special superstar at that time?
No, because you know what happened? You know, it's amazing. This time in our life, we're just living life. This was the life we lived. One day, was years after that, I got into an argument with him. We had a song called Cool Night, Sitting in the Moonlight. And he said, you hear me sing my song and you copy it?
Really? So that the Jamaicans did have a song?
Yes.
Oh, where I said Bob Marley accused Tami Cowan to thief him song. You heard it first on the cut.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Because, you know, we were coming through at that time and he was coming through.
Yeah.
There was a thing called Pop and Mentor competition. And we won it 65. In 66, they separated it and called it the Pop and Mentor and Festival Song. When we won Pop and Mentor and Bam Bam won the Festival Song. In 67, we won with Baba Boom, the Festival Song. Right?
But Uncle Tami did run the place, man.
In 60. And I think Boom Shakalaka came after that after that time. Yeah, man. So we did as the Jamaicans, we did
Some
Baba
big
Boom,
things.
Cool Night, Things You Say You Love You're Gonna Lose, that UB40 did sold over 2 million copies of that record.
Whoa.
Lose, you're gonna lose, things you say
original
you
song
love.
that?
Yes, man. Yeah,
Yes,
and,
I tell you, but I tell you, you know. But I'm happy that Uncle Tami is talking and telling the story because you're going to understand what this man's contribution is to the
man,
music.
Peace and Love and all those, we sang war songs and the Vietnam War and all that.
Things you say you love,
Let's hear it for Sister Carlene Davis.
Are you Carlene talking to you a while ago and telling the show and tell you about shits Babsy make with her?
Yeah.
Going down to paradise, it must be love like old friends do.
Going on to paradise is that same Babsy era?
Yeah.
Yes, Babsy produced those songs.
So we came
with
back to
Carlene.
Jamaica and we did the album called Paradise, Carlene Davis Paradise.
Yeah.
So you look like you went through a phase when you were revolutionary and singing songs with meaning from the soul.
Militant. So it started out with the Lovers Rock.
Right.
And then, I mean, I think the experience with Harder They Come did something to me. You know, the depth of that song, you know, and then when Tami started working with it, because another thing you need to know that you said to me, tell me about Babsy, it's through Babsy that I met Tami.
Oh, yes.
At one point. And then history will have it that once I was through working with Babsy, Tami and I continued to record and did the first song together, which was what, Tami?
Well, Babsy will tell you another story. Babsy says, I asked Tami to take care of Carlene from because I'm busy. And he did take care of it.
I was going to ask you for how we met story time, but it
Yeah.
start there now.
So Still in Love was the
Still in
first
Love.
song that Tommy introduced to me. He called me and said, listen, I hear this song and I hear your voice on it. I don't hear no other female artist. And he said, we planned the studio time, and then he called me back about a week later and he said, boy, Carlene, I can't record the song because I'm at 56 Hope Road. I'm the
Yeah, I'm with
marketing
Bob Marley at
director,
the time.
for marketing manager for Tough Gong, and somebody brought a version of it, a male, so I can't turn around now and produce a
do it.
song. He called Neverly at Sonic Sound and said, listen, I have this song. I think it really, I hear Carlene, it belongs to her. Can you do something with it? And that's history. The song just went wild, like wildfire, sold
yeah.
like wildfire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then the relationship started right there?
Not right there. It continued to develop at that point because I was still working with Babsy when Still in Love came out. And of course, once Tommy and I started working together, we did Santa Claus, You Ever Come to the Ghetto? Then the message music now started to trip in.
Ah.
Yes.
Because that song was almost like what Mariah Carey does for the Christmas carols
Yes.
overseas.
Yes.
Like you did that for us in the most reggae, organic, like message music way.
Rootical.
Yes.
Rootical.
Yes.
Man, you bring reggae to Christmas, you know.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
man, that song, and it's just like the gift that keeps on giving. Every Christmas,
Every
we have to
Christmas,
sing that, we
yes.
have to play that. So that spawned out of the early relationship with you and Uncle Tommy.
And Tommy.
Wow,
Yes.
a great listener. I'm telling it, hey, look here, man. Today I am a student and I am learning and I am basking in the glory of just being in you guys' presence. You know, there's so much to learn.
Yeah, you know something though? When we started out as the Miracles, who you think was our band? Tami mother, Auntie Ingrid, our father on the drums, Richard Chin,
Oh, yes,
and
now.
Ken Chin, and is up at Havendale,
Carnations time.
Carnations, yes. That time,
We are
yeah, you
sitting.
look at Baba Boom and the dancers and the band behind. Yeah,
You see Richard on.
Ingrid, sing at them, man.
your mother-in-law,
And
mother-in-law.
And Nana, what?
Yes.
Oh my good, no man, this gone deep now.
You see, that is what I said. I know, like I wouldn't tell you.
No man, this gone deep now,
Yes,
Uncle Tommy.
man.
What you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we do
be a big
television
bad
shows
Chinese
together.
musician, I kick up a storm around the
Yes.
bass and wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
No man, I never know about that chapter there.
Yes, man. Them days, them say Chinese are run the business.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, the
Byron Lee, and you were close
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Byron Lee too.
Yes, man.
Coming like you just take on the Chinese community and say, come
yeah,
music.
Byron Lee, Bunny Lee, and Bob Marley. According to what the man. But yeah, Byron Lee, yeah, we have, Byron Lee took us, we toured US with Byron Lee, we toured the Caribbean, we toured Canada.
You work
as
so
the
closely.
Jamaicans, yeah.
And he was the marketing manager at Byron Lee
At
as
Byron
well.
Lee too.
The
Before Tough
studios,
Gong,
Byron
yeah.
Lee Studios. Wow.
Dynamic Sounds. Yeah.
Okay. No man, a whole heap of hats and a whole heap of different chapters, Uncle Tops, things that I never knew. I'm finding out now. Even with my great research, I did not know some of these things. So, all right, you and Bob Marley are close now at this point, and the One Love Peace Concert, which is one of the most iconic moments in Jamaican showbiz.
In the world. At one time, it was rated in the top 10 best rock concerts of all times.
Of
yes.
all times.
Yes.
What was your role in that? And take me back to the night and even the days leading up to it. What was that like?
Some rough days and some good days, but short version of it, I got a call from Claude Mossop, who was then living in England, and Bob had just gone into exile. That time I'm running Talent Corporation with people like Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaacs, Junior Tucker, the Inner Circle, Jacob Miller. We had Beresford Hammond with Zappo, Tiger, Ross Michael, and the Sons of Negos. Yeah. I had come bringing all of these groups together. Muta Baruka was there too, Alan Hope. Oh. And yeah, anyway, I got this call from Claudia to say, boy, Tami, I feel Bob is coming home and we could do a concert. I said, boy, let me talk to Bob, because I had an experience before with Bob, before this had happened, where I wanted him to go Bermuda and it didn't work out. So I said, let him talk. So Bob called me and said, get it organized. I'm coming. And then I had all these artists at Talent Corporation. We said, well, that is one. No, we can't have it unless the Whalers are together. I went to Peter Tosh with Claudia Massop and myself. And Peter just come out and, peace? Yeah? The only piece you go and get him, look at Claudia and point him is 6'6".
Oh, yeah, see.
Yeah. And I went to Bunny, and Bunny again was, you know, in a little rage, talking about it, and him drive off and crash, and that was another thing. So when I go back to Bob, I say, I'm in problem. So him say, who was rotting? So I say, him never rat, me never rat. So don't worry yourself, man. But anyway, the concert, they're coming together. So then Bob thought smartly, says, listen, we want a peace concert. So we decided to bring together the different factions with Bucky Marshall and Trevor Phillips and Lippo and different guys that were there. And some of them even threatened me because one day inside here in my office here, one of them come and put them foot up on my desk. And I said, what you doing? I said, nothing. I said, take your foot down off my desk. I said, yeah? I said, all right, I'm going to take my foot down, but this as the concert finish, I want to respect you because of the concert. But the concert finish, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, all this part with Siaga and Mandela was never planned. About the two of them coming to stage. If you look back on it, you could see the whole spirituality taking over Bob on stage. Yeah. And then he brought the two of them on stage. If you look at it, that's spiritual dance.
Rumor has it said a lightning, this flash.
Well, lightning, yeah. Everybody thought it was a light effect. Lightning clap on the stage. And them said the moon is high in the sky, don't ask why there's a natural mystic blowing through the air. And you saw that pow, pow, pow. Yeah.
So in the moment, you knew that this was a moment, a treasure that would stand the test of time and generations to come.
Well, you know what? Like I say, we were never really into what, because it's like when people ask me what explain reggae. I can't explain reggae, I'm reggae. I can't tell about the 4-beat and the this and the that. We just evolve. And everything that we were doing was evolving. We weren't even thinking of, oh, we're doing a concert like this, it's gonna become history or whatever. We weren't even thinking of this. We're just thinking of this is what we have to do now. And Bob had that whole feeling that, well, okay, I'm not going to carry a grudge against anybody and the shooting and whatnot have you that had taken place before. But we need to do something about bringing the brethren together.
Wow. At this point now, you guys are a thing, right? You would have met Tami with 5 kids. You became a stepmom to 5 children. Was that challenging at any stage? Blended family is something that we know, but it's something that a lot of people don't understand the concept of.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I know how I got through was because of our love for each other and the respect we had for each other and the way how he allowed me to be there for them. He didn't set any restrictions.
And that's what I know that helped me to flow. And I knew my limits, you know, because I've not been that place before, not been there before, you know, and all I knew, it was just the heart of these are their children, and they need love. And I saw the love my husband had for his children, you know, the care, the affection that he had for them. So it was natural for me to fall in line with that. He provided the space. The atmosphere was right for me to flow, you know. You know, you had asked me something earlier, and we never dealt with it. The Mandela era of my music.
Yeah. When Mandela came, you must have been invited to perform.
We were part of the team for his appearance at National Stadium.
Wow.
To sing the song "Welcome Home, Mr. Mandela." As he was coming into the motorcade into the stadium, the people just got crazy. People were rushing, climbing over the wall and everything, and it was to avert any major incident. We were all backstage with the lineup of who's going to sing. I think Beanie Man was on it that year.
Beanie get booed and Beanie sit down right there and tell me or get booed.
Right.
Yeah.
And Babsy was backstage, and she was part of the preparation of the musical presentation. And when she saw what was happening and when the
police
security...
was about to have a confrontation with the audience, I started throwing.
Buckle.
Yeah.
And she just said, wherever Carlene is, get her. No, she has to go on with that song. So instead of me singing the song by myself, all the artists who were backstage joined me on stage as the motorcade came in.
That was a moment.
That was quite a moment.
Did you get a chance to meet?
I met Winnie. It was very difficult to get to Nelson, but they had a special evening, a special time with Winnie and the women. I think it was down at Oceana Hotel, and I had a chance to have a very beautiful picture of her embracing me. And she whispered in my ear, and she says, "I thank you for the music. It was your music like yours that really kept us, you know, and give us hope." Yeah.
We see you now, and you're solid and established. But there must have been times when you had to put pride aside and look at each other through a lens of love and just overcome certain moments. Because a lot of people see these relationships for 30 years and 40 years and think that it's a simple thing. There are times where the relationship must have been tested.
Challenge, of course.
How did you maneuver in these times? You know, come know when Uncle Tami young, you know, a hot boy, then test you, you know, he test you, you know, auntie, you know.
It's funny. I said to him just a few days ago, he was looking at a video of me, you know, like, I think it was a Sunsplash video.
Yeah.
And he says, "Man, I was dating you then? Was I dating you?" I said, "No." He says, "Of course I said, "No." I says, "You were too busy." I don't know if he knew what I meant by that, but yeah, you were too busy. But the point is, I knew what we had then, but each of us needed time to recognize that this is how we are going to approach it. And I didn't want to pressure him, rush him.
Yeah.
What I did, I allowed the music to play. Because he's in music, I'm in music, and I wanted to pursue my career.
Right.
So here was this individual that I loved and I cared for, but until he was ready to say, "This is it," you know, I had to give him room, you know, and I needed room too. But more so for I think for the male. The male will always need a little extra room than us women. And we see things a little earlier in a relationship than I think majority of women will see things earlier than men. I don't know if you'll agree with me.
No, I agree. And the lesson there, I think, is that you have to use discernment, you have to be patient when approaching it. Even though you guys are soulmates.
And you see the chemistry, you have the chemistry and everything, but you have to...
There's still a phase where you have to make sure that this is right.
Yes.
For both parties.
For both, especially with the fact that there were children involved as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I gave him space.
Yeah.
That's basically what I did. I gave him space. And when he saw the space was doing this,
you have to close the gap. You have to close the gap.
Am I right, Tommy? Am I right?
Yes. Wow. So let me ask you, Auntie Carlene, when did the conviction and the conversion to Christianity really happen? Was there a defining moment, a catalyst that pushed you?
Most definitely. I mean, as Tommy said, the foundation was laid from, you know, as children. And so, you know, you grow up but my relationship with the Lord was always there, but not like it is today, of course, but I just knew that God was real. But my relationship with him was more lukewarm. You know, you're pursuing your goals and aspirations and you're going about doing your own thing, and then one day, you know, doing well, touring, making hits, making money, and having a wonderful time. I have this gentleman in my life and we're doing well. And then we're making love. And then Tommy says, "What's this?" He felt a lump. And we didn't hesitate. We went to the doctor immediately. And he looked about it. We went and the doctor said, "Well, let's do a test." And we ran the test and it was breast cancer. Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 1996.
Wow.
And let me tell you, you know, what kept me was just having my family around me, having someone like Tommy who, he basically was doing everything. He's like, he didn't even know how to tell me the results. You know, when he got the results, it's like he drove around town before he came home with the final result, you know. But God, and then the body of Christ, the church was there for me, because by this time, Che and Sarah, my bonus children, they're already walking the walk. And, you know, he's a youth pastor at church and everything. So I had the spiritual support, and they stood with me. They stood with us, you know, and undergird us in prayer. And of course, the body of Christ, all pastors and the leaders of the church were there, and the families and close friends, you know. And I know that helped me through the process.
Full healing. Full
healing. And it was really when I said, "God, I am through with running from you." You know, the fact is, you're not knowing whether you're going to make it, even at the end of the treatment and all of that, you know. But I'd made up my mind. I said, "God," my first recording that I did was a song called Vessel. It says, "I want to be a vessel filled with the Holy Spirit. Let me carry the hope of your glory. Serve all you love with my heart. An outpouring of your blessing, a vessel to answer your call." That was the song that God gave me. And I said, "God, use me."
When I look at you, I don't even see a survivor, I see a thriver. I don't even remember the diagnosis. I don't even remember that chapter. It's not nowhere near you. And it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, what I love about you guys' work is the fact that you're not lukewarm. You're not going at it. You have a PhD in pastoral counseling.
Yes,
and you yourself have an honorary doctorate.
Yes.
Why not start a church? Why not?
We are the church. We're the walking church.
Ministry through music.
Through music.
And a church unite.
Yes.
Yeah. Because some people feel like, say, when you go gospel, the success don't feel as big, or, you know, and yes, maybe the checks aren't as glorious in the beginning, but Fun in the Sun comes and becomes the biggest gathering of Jamaicans on record, I think. Me got the whole of the show them, and I don't see a sea of people like what I see there. And I believe on record, what's the Fun in the Sun no count.
Oh, we have had up to 80,000. Some people say it's 100,000.
Wow.
We had in Portmore.
And gospel brought the people
People together.
How did it come about?
I was watching a television show, and on this television show, they were showing some things about spring break. And I saw a scene from a club in Montego Bay where these teenage girls came on, and don't let me tell you what I was seeing on the American TV. You know, them spraying foam on them and doing all kind of a thing. It just hit me that one of those girls could have been my daughter. How would I feel? And what can I do about it? So, long story short, I called my son, Che, and I said, Che, I need you to tell me I need to have an alternative, an answer to this spring break thing. He said, Dad, I tell you what, give me a weekend down at the North Coast and I'll come back with the answer.
Yeah.
So I sent him to the North Coast.
Really?
And he come back and he says, Dad, fun in the sun. I said, no, like sun splash? He said, no, Dad. I'm talking about the S-O-N who made the S-U-N. And so that I said, wow.
You don't see it already. It's almost like the seed plant, this or no.
Right.
So you had a big hand in the formulation of the Sunsplash brand.
Oh yeah, I did over 500 shows with Sunsplash worldwide, you know. I coined, remember I was the MC, you know. So I would do 50 states.
I did ask you too, what led you to want to be the MC of the night, the master of ceremony, to introduce the artist?
You know, I think it could have been after a night with doing a show with Byron Lee. It was at the Ritz. And in those days when you have a group, you have a lead singer, you have a leader. And I was the leader of the Jamaicans. But then we would talk to each other how we just perform. And Byron Lee says, I watch how you talk to the artist, you know. You know, you need to talk to the audience sometimes. So when we would go on a show, we would appear up front, and then there was people like Charlie Babcock and Tony Verity and these guys. And they would invite me, you know, to come and introduce a few acts.
Okay.
And so I became known as this MC because I didn't take MC work for granted, you know. I studied the artist, I studied the craft, I studied the wisdom of it. Because some MC think them is the star of the show.
Right.
And I look at it at a different way. I think if you link it properly and you let the show flow right, and if there's a time that comes and you have to fill, like
You have to have some argument and think on your feet.
Yeah, man. I'm sure the sound lockdown, the only thing working is the microphone. And we have to do Naya Bingi and I do my thing.
Yeah.
But I did Sunsplash and became like the voice. So I did Japan. At one year, I think I did 6 tours of Japan for the year. And I made more money as an MC than I was doing as a singer.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
So even that phrase that you have that says, when you look at Sunsplash, uniting the world through music, that came through out of my saying that reggae is a musical vibe going to the 4 corners of the world with the hope that through this music we may unite the people of all race, all class, all color, all creed, all religion. Reggae uniting the world.
Through music.
Iconic, you know. I remember that. There's still so much more to talk about. You guys have so much life in there. I still feel like there's more left. The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. That's right.
The best is yet to come.
The best. I just put out a brand new album called Songs of Zion.
Really?
Came out February 28th.
I forgot.
Produced by
that.
Tami, Cowan, and myself. Glory Music.
Still working together.
Still working.
My goodness. People throw around this couple goals thing and have it lightly, but
it's about commitment.
It's a couple goals. It's about commitment.
It's about commitment.
Sticking it out.
Sticking it out. I know you're saying, you know, the challenges that couples go through. Disagreement is inevitable in any relationship. I think you'll agree with me on that.
Agreed.
But, yeah. And the thing is, once you've made that commitment that this is it, even when you go through those challenges, it doesn't change a commitment. No. It doesn't.
And we have used wisdom with it because, you don't make these things last. There's a better side. So you choose. The life that you have, it's really, I find, that's why we have, even at this time, we still have this passion to get up. We have a studio at home and we keep recording and and sometimes I have to ask myself, what am I doing? Why am I still doing this? But this is not about you.
Right.
It's only what it comes through you.
Yeah.
It's what it comes through you, but it's not for you.
Appreciate you guys, appreciate the contribution. What can I say? We look up to you for giving no flowers while in the day with we.
Appreciate the time.
It's important to share these stories so the younger generation can hear the greatness what Jamaicans have gone with over the years and still there. I set the pattern and I set the trend. I appreciate it, man. Give thanks.
Thank you for having us, and we appreciate you and Tami and the family. I mean, God is so amazing.
Yeah, man. You always tell me, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Enough love, man.
God bless you. God
Bless indeed.
You.
Bless indeed.
Respect. Yeah,
Bless
man.
indeed.
God
Enough
bless
love, man,
you.
to God.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. The cut, that's a wrap. We are cut.